Hey guys, Third Shift Reactions here. I'm Shane, and I'm back with Star Wars Thebadbatch, the finale of Season 1. It's been for the most part, a pretty damn good journey. Definitely an enjoyable one. But Star Wars has given me some of the highest highs in my life. You might think that's pathetic, but that's literally the truth. And this show didn't give me that many. Okay, and that's what I'm kind of used to. That being said, I don't think it's trying to give me those. It's just trying to tell stories in a universe with characters that are great and complex and diverse, and it's funny we're talking about clones and them being diverse, but they have diverse personalities. And yeah, last episode has stuck on my mind quite a bit. I watched it with my son, and I'm reading some of the comments, and it's like, yeah, it's the end of an era. I think Star Wars Attack of the Clones came out when I was in 8th grade. Okay, so 2001, 2002, around that, it must have been 2002, because it came out, I think, in May, I believe. But yeah, it's a hell of a thing, because it's an end of an era. It's like the end of the prequel era, officially. And just all the imagery of everything being destroyed. And the effect it had on Omega is very sad. And the fact that Rampart, I don't like him, but it was definitely cool when they're up there in the sky in the Star Destroyer, and he's standing there kind of like, with his hands behind his back, locked like this, like Vader or whoever else. And Tarkin says, "You may fire when ready." That was cool. It was a cool moment, and it was it was an insidious, dramatic, just really badass moment. But then again, you could put almost anyone in his position, and it would elevate the coolness of that character in that moment. And yeah, it's just, wow, this is the finale, and I'm wondering a few things. I don't know if we have time for like a Vader or Palpatine to show up. That was my original theory. Vader has to show up eventually. Like, if it doesn't happen now, it's going to happen later. I think it's the same thing that's going to happen with Palpatine. I think they need to soak up Ian McDiarmid before he, that guy's getting up there in age. So I think we need to make use of him. And yeah, I don't got too much else to say. Crosshair is with the Bad Batch, and assumingly they're going to be just together, working together, trying to survive. And I think I'm trying to think of anything else that could happen, really. I don't think we can go back to see Sid or anything else. I think we're just going to be surviving, and hopefully, I don't think it's going to happen, but the Bad Batch actually coming together and uniting again, instead of Crosshair doing his own thing. I wonder if we can have some kind of deep, dramatic conversation. We had that, and I love that conversation between Obi-Wan and Anakin, right before their duel and during their duel and stuff like that. It's just, yeah. I'm really just going to sit here wondering, yeah. So I'm just going to go ahead and start the finale, and I hope you guys like the reaction.
All Kamino facilities have collapsed into the sea.
Very good. Rendezvous with the fleet.
Definitely a cool shot. That's crazy that they felt like they had to destroy it.
Greetings, CT-9904. You survived the aerial bombardment, but are now moments away from drowning.
Get this
Oh, come on, guys. She's like, eh.
We have to get the door open.
She's gonna use the force. Come on.
If you want to stay here and die, that's your call.
You gotta work together. Whew, man. Oh, man. There's still baby embryo, not embryos, but
We have to go.
that's a hell of an image, man. Jesus. Oh shit. job. It's like the Titanic.
Check it out. Our board's still here.
All those missions together, and you threw it away.
We made a choice.
Come on, dude.
So did you.
Soldiers follow orders.
Blind allegiance makes you a pawn. A real leader protects his squad.
They're all going to die here because of your failed leadership.
No, we're not. We landed on the underwater tunnel.
She's calling the shots now.
You have a better idea.
Wait, they landed on it. How'd they get to it? Oh.
AZ says with a precise will to maintain an airtight seal, this might work.
There you go.
What do you mean, might?
The tunnel is clear!
If that thing shifted a little bit, I mean, they are in an ocean, right? Jurassic Park 2: The Lost World.
Return the creature! Try to stay alive!
Come on.
But you have survived the transit. This outcome is satisfactory.
Thank you.
That kid saved your life. Unlike the Empire, who left you for dead.
That's your problem, Hunter. You take things too personally.
Dude, he should take that personal.
Entire city.
They did what needed to be done.
You never liked it on Kamino, did you?
Go away.
I understand. I spent most of my life in this lab. I wanted to believe it was the inhibitor chip that made you like this, but I was wrong.
All that water just coming in and stuff coming in might break it. Yeah. The droid is booking it.
Doing great, AZ.
Oh! Oh, fuck. Dude, that would be the worst damn thing ever. Oh, remind me of Ninja Turtles 2. Oh, fuck.
Don't give up. We're nearly there.
Your path is clear. I have completed my objective.
No!
Oh, that's some fucking jack shit from Titanic right there.
I'm going after AZ!
Jesus, woman. You little socialist. Come on! You better go.
Going in.
Good job. Jesus. I have to look at that head anymore. I'm gonna just... Why would you throw the gun to him? What does that mean? There it is. Kind of like Luke looking at his farmstead.
It's all gone.
None of this changes anything.
You offered us a chance, Crosshair. This is yours.
I made my decision.
Alright. That's better terms than they left it last time, I think. But there's this more certainty, like, alright. Even when things were good, he didn't join us. But the animosity has to be lower.
What?
What?
Thank you for saving AZ.
Consider us even.
You're still their brother, Crosshair. You're my brother too.
Hey, Commandos.
Mistress Nala Say, welcome. The Empire has big things planned for you.
A little more emotional than I thought it was going to be. I mean, I was emotional in the last episode, and when I watched it the second time, I was even more emotional. I want to just talk about the last thing I saw, which is Nala Se obviously going to use her knowledge of cloning for the Empire. And it just made me think of what they did with Galen Erso in Star Wars Rogue One, where they take the brightest minds of the galaxy and they make them work for the Empire to do normally not very moral things. I think in the case of her, she's going to be working on maybe the Emperor's cloning project. You know what would be crazy is if in Star Wars The Mandalorian, she was still alive. And I know they had that one little scientist, that one scientist that we saw who was kind of more compassionate for Grogu. I know we saw him, but it'd be cool if she was still there. Still working, on her mandate to try to bring the Emperor back. I know a lot of people, spoiler alert, I'm going to talk about the sequel trilogy. A lot of people don't like kind of Palpatine's final order plan. I like it. I don't love it, but I love the Emperor. I think it's important that he was in the sequel trilogy. I just think if they planned it better, they could have started seeding him coming back in episode 7 and 8 instead of him just showing up in 9. I mean, but then again, like I loved him. My problem with that movie wasn't Ian McDiarmid and the Emperor. It was just kind of obviously, when you're telling stories, you have different people telling stories. There wasn't a lot of like uniform decision. That being said, I love those movies, and my daughters love Rey. I'm not knocking the sequel trilogy. I love it. I just love pretty much most of Star Wars. I'm not saying it doesn't have flaws. I'm saying I love it, and I'm a fan, so I'm a little biased. That being said, I would love to see them tell that story a little bit, or give us some insight into like the dark cloning shit. The combination of Sith magic and cloning, like, coming together to create, obviously Snoke and stuff like that. Why did they have to destroy Kamino? I know it's what the Empire does. I know it's cool. But they didn't even, make sure it was obliterated. They just sunk it. And my first instinct is, okay, they don't want anyone having access to, the cloning facility and all their research. But they didn't obliterate it. So they just sunk it. And someone can just go down there and get it. That being said, it would be very interesting if they obliterated it or if they didn't sink it. So it was crucial for the plot that they chose to tell the story for. AZ is funny. He kind of reminded me of, was it K2SO? How he's just kind of robotically, monochromatically saying, "You are moments away from drowning." And it just reminded me of K2SO in Rogue One saying, when he was talking to, I can't remember his fucking name, Diego Luna, saying that, you'll die, I'll survive, and you'll be sucked out into the cold vacuum of space. Because, I just thought that was funny. AZ is cool. And someone reminded me in the comments, I did miss the fact that AZ was shown previously. I'm just a fool. I'm doing I know it's not an excuse, but I'm doing shows, multiple, and I'm taking a lot of notes. And I just kind of forgot. I didn't rewatch his first couple episodes really for a while. But that being said, I really liked AZ. I liked how they brought him in. I liked how he's crucial to the plot. I liked how he was a crucial emotional component, another emotional component to Omega. And just another sad moment for me was just watching Omega, those cloning vats, there's those test tubes, they're not test tubes, I don't think, but those big cylinder glass tanks that all the clones are grown in, watching them kind of go underwater, and you couldn't really see clearly, but were there still baby Jango, there's still baby clones in that, just dying? Because she'd be probably looking at that as, we were all grown in that thing is like our mother. And the people out there who are going to drown, they are my little baby brothers. That's got to be awful. I think if the show was like a movie, they would have showed that. Which, in my head, that's kind of what was going on in my headcanon, which makes it even more tragic. It was very sad. And you know what? Did Echo say a damn thing in this episode? I know he's not really He's kind of new to the group. But yeah, I almost forgot about him until I saw him. And there was a lot of more moments of Crosshair versus Hunter. I was kind of on Crosshair's side a little more in the last episode. I was kind of feeling for him. But this episode, he was just like, hey, you guys picked the wrong choice. And Hunter's like, hey, they blew up the city. They didn't care about you. And he's like, you take things too personal. You know, I'm going to join them. And I'm like, dude, they literally, that's a personal thing. They tried killing you. You know what I mean? They didn't care enough about you. You are a number. You're not a name, as Crosshair said later on. And we also had a moment with Wrecker and Crosshair that was pretty emotional, where Wrecker doesn't normally... he's a big softie. I'm not going to say... he definitely probably has, like, the biggest heart. He's kind of like a big kid. But when he was talking to Crosshair, and he's like, hey, listen, you never tried to come back, we would have taken you. That was emotional as well. And we also obviously had Tech being the analytical one, saying, hey, this is his personality. I don't agree with him, but I don't blame him. You know, because I understand him. It doesn't mean I agree with his decisions. And we also had the moment when they were going through the underwater tubes to try to get the Nala Se's secret lab, or trying to get from Nala Se's lab to the docking bay that's emerged above the water. That was obviously broken. But yeah, that moment when they were running through the underwater tubes, that was pretty scary. When it was starting to crack, I'm just trying to think, if that was real life and you have, like, I don't know, 400 meters, which is like a quarter mile of tube to run through to get from one place to another, and there's darkness, no light at all, and there's monsters out there that want to eat you, there's no electricity, and the glass is cracking. That would be the scariest thing ever. And I think this show did a decent job of making it scary for the audience. And then, of course, I'm always thinking, there's always a bigger fish. We didn't have a bigger fish this time. We had AZ electrocute that big-ass underwater sea monster. So they weren't eaten. But that was really scary as well. The AZ's battery starting to die, that was definitely raising the stakes a little bit. I knew that was going to come in a moment that was going to threaten his life or threaten the lives of our characters. I was actually pretty sure it was going to be the latter, but it wasn't. He fulfilled his mission, but Omega, Omega, the little socialist that she is, you know, of course it all works out for them in a show like this. She wants to save everybody, and she actually was going to basically look like she risked her life to save him, and she would have died if it wasn't for Crosshair having a good moment where I didn't think he was going to shoot Hunter at all. I thought for sure he was going to shoot a grappling hook, and that's exactly what he did. And I wonder what, the kind of person that can just turn against your brothers because they picked a different side, what was in him that made him feel like he owed Omega? I guess there's just a little bit of that left. You know what I mean? You know what? I have another question. There is this syndrome, I can't remember the scientific name, but it's basically called the bends. It's when you're underwater for a while, and I think it's carbon dioxide builds up in your blood, and you have to let that carbon dioxide disperse by being in this pressurized chamber. Are they going to have the bends because they were deep underwater and then they came up? I'm just curious. Is that another thing in Star Wars? Do clones not have it? Is it kind of like Captain Falcon? Damn it! Not Captain Falcon. Fuck! Is it like Captain America where you can't get drunk? They can't get the bends and they can't get drunk? I don't know. Are they superhumans? They're really good at Dejeric. I don't know. They're good at Dejeric and they don't get the bends and they don't get drunk. Maybe that's their superpowers. But when the Ninja Turtles in Ninja Turtles 2, when the Super Shredder destroys the dock that they're underneath, he says, "Shredder, listen to reason. You're going to destroy us all." He's like, "So be it." And he destroys everything. Everything collapses. Their shells, poop, poop, they all come up underwater and they pop up in a really satisfying way. When the test tubes were popping up, that really reminded me of that. And there's nothing in Crosshair's face that the creators are trying to show the audience that, like, hey, I'm this close to going back with my brothers. He looks to be pretty satisfied with his decision. It doesn't mean that I don't see sometimes a little bit of sadness. Like when Omega said, hey, they're your brothers, you're my brother, which was definitely kind of a tearjerker. I saw a little bit of sadness, but I saw sadness and stubbornness. Okay? Not so much stubborn that, like, I want to do this so bad, but I'm stubborn. I just thought that he's kind of set in his ways and he made his choice. And he's sad, but hey, this is what he's going to do. He was able to work with him to obviously preserve his life. He felt like he needed to save Omega's life, and he did that. But to him, it doesn't change anything. You know, one thing I love about the sequel trilogy is I love Kylo Ren. I love his story. I love how he came back. And with the tragic events of Carrie Fisher, they might have made it even better, but for the most part, I was satisfied. I mean, he was obviously going to turn good, and they used Harrison Ford and everything else, and I loved it. And they made me work for it. Like, they made the audience kind of work for it. And they made me feel like, oh, Kylo Ren, what are you doing, man? I felt this kind of way about Crosshair. I really felt like it's going to be too easy for them to turn now. Like, I think they had to make the audience work for it. I don't think there should be all these events that happen. It can't be so easy to where, like, they purposely shit on the Empire just shits on Crosshair, like, so much where we're frustrated with the Emperor and we see his frustration. He's like, fuck it, you guys suck, I'm going to go with the good guys. It needs to be more deep than that, to why he goes back and joins his brothers. And I think it needs to be like a Vader it needs to be like a Vader moment or something. And you know, in the Star Wars universe, once you walk the dark path, forever will dominate your destiny. And what that normally means is if you go back from walking the dark path, like, there's a big consequence. And in Vader's case, and in Kylo Ren's case, it was both of their lives. So I wonder what that could be with this. And that is that they keep that theme, which hopefully they do. Guys, this show was pretty damn good. It wasn't my favorite, but it had great moments. And I guarantee when Season 2 comes back, I'm going to be super excited, because I'm going to have time to sit with those characters and let them kind of swim around in my head and, like, kind of become a part of my Star Wars headcanon and lore. Okay? Because I think of Star Wars, I don't necessarily think of the Bad Batch. But when you have time pass, that starts to happen. So I am excited for Season 2. And it was a pretty damn good show, and a great last couple episodes, a great finale. So I don't got too much else to say. I'm excited to see what happens, and I have been consistently wrong about Omega having the Force. I thought she was going to have to use the Force in this. So either that's just wrong, which I think would be weird, because they definitely foreshadowed it. There are things that are inexplicable. Like before Crosshair comes through the door, I think in episode 1 or 2, she looks at the door with a look on her face like, oh shit, Crosshair's coming. And he comes to the door. There are a couple of things like that that made me think she had the Force. And it just makes sense, I think, personally. Especially the fact that they wanted her back. And I think it's deeper than just, hey, we'll create more clones that the Emperor doesn't want. And that the Emperor... besides the fact that, hey, we'll create more Jenga clones that the Empire doesn't want. There had to be something else special about her that was part of their secret plan. Like some kind of super clone. Like a Force-sensitive clone. That's just me. But maybe the show is going to make us work for that. Maybe we're going to see her put through the ringer first. Okay? Anyways, I don't got too much else to say, and I'm out of here. Guys, thank you so much for watching my reactions to this show. Make sure you check out Star Wars, The Clone Wars that Zach and I are doing. And you can be sure as crap that we'll do more Star Wars when it comes. Check out other stuff. Like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below. We appreciate it.